No, they did not. That could be
Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron Cowan. Welcome to the Living Joke podcast. We are having tons of fun here today. It's hot. You will be hearing air conditioner noise. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It is 91. I was joking with Will the other day. 91 in New England is not a 91 of the South or elsewhere. It is somehow hotter. Not quite sure how that's possible. Perhaps I'd like some studio lights. Here we go. That's better. I didn't even put any face on today. Oh well. That's okay. We'll somehow manage to survive without makeup. But we have a ton of really fun topics for you this week. We're going to save Disney single-handedly. We're going to tell Bob Iger how he can save the whole company. We have lots of great ideas. We're also going to talk about the new Alien movie on Hulu. Will has thoughts. He's written paragraphs to tell you about. It's going to be great. And then we also are going to talk about the new wave of content censorship that is hitting the internet in all kinds of ways. There's a series of pieces of legislation, and it's already affecting platforms where creators are making stuff. And we have a bit from Civet AI, and I went and looked up some stuff on Twitter for us to talk about as well. So it's going to be a very busy day here, so I'm not going to linger too much longer, and I'm going to bring the guys in, although from what I can see, everyone is not quite settled yet. So I'm going to have to vamp while they get themselves arranged. It's a process.
I'm here enough.
It's a journey.
Throw me in. I don't care if people see me walking around and adjusting my cam. That's fine.
It's more.
Oh.
You get a peek at what you have to pay for on other sites. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. let me do this. That's the way that's supposed to be. This is the way this is supposed to be. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and if you want to see more of Connor's arms and ever so slightly lifted shirt pics that we've taken in secret, but link in bio.
Wait a second.
I'm just saying,
What's
man.
going on here?
I'm just saying, man. You have cum gutters. The world should see them. So it's a travesty. But I want to dive into our monologue topic, and that is our censorship and AI situation. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let me do this for a second. We're going to do a little screen share. There we go. And so I kind of dashed back over to Twitter where I originally found this. And what is happening is a lot of nations, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, are doing these new Online Safety Act pieces of legislation. They all have different names, but they all kind of achieve the same goal. And the goal is very simple, and that is to really begin censoring the internet and restricting 18-up content with IDs. This is a huge burden to independent sites. We kind of talked about this in the context of adult entertainment, but it's now actually reaching creative platforms. So the big platform that a lot of people have been using, especially for gaming, is this place called Civet AI. Now, I'll admit, I didn't know they existed till I read about this. But they have gone through and talked about all the things that they're not going to allow on their platform. I'm not going to read them out because we will be so demonetized on every platform. It's not even funny. But even that amount of censorship, I can't read this to you because of what it is, and all the platforms we're on will think that that's what we're talking about, sort of thing. Even that is its own censorship. But you have this situation here as well. So before we get into all the pop culture stuff, I thought I'd open this up for some discussion and what it means for gaming, what it means for art, and you know what your view of all these things are, especially considering there are AAA games with some of these activities, like pointing a arm at someone's head that may, shall we say, have an explosive element to that.
Pew pew.
The pew pew stick. Yes, exactly. So, how are we feeling about this new wave of censorship that we're having to live under?
Pretty stupid.
I think it's pretty silly, but I understand kind of why they're doing that, or why the legislation is coming down the road for this. This is just the beginning.
I always kind of thought that the anonymity of the internet would be short-lived. Someday, at some point, you know, we would have to be identifying ourselves online. We would end up with some sort of digital ID sort of thing. I guess maybe that's the other question is, how do you guys feel about having your identifying paperwork ID, you know, available to tech companies, websites, all this type of thing, and having your online activity tied to your ID?
Connor,
That one doesn't really surprise me as much. I feel like that's been coming. I mean, if you buy anything with tech already, there's already usually, it might not be your ID, but they already have information about you attached to it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see... The only reason this is getting more attention is because AI is in the news. But really, this isn't anything, like, strange or out of like, the realm. Like, it's not coming out of left field. You know what I mean? Like, this has been a long time coming. Like, also, like, talking about censorship in games, censorship in general, we're real controversial about that here right now, so people aren't gonna be happy about it, and I understand.
Well, I think the reason AI comes under scrutiny is it has lowered the barrier to entry to make the stuff, you know. So that it's not just a handful of companies that one can you know, maybe have a sneaky chat with and get them to dial back on some of this stuff. It's now anyone can make anything, really. If you buy enough AI credits at the right AI places, you can go crazy. You know, and now, so I think the proliferation of it, I think, is a factor too.
Oh, please, Connor, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think where this for me really, I think an issue comes in, and we talk about gaming a lot on the channel. You know, Will and I are gamers at this point. Is that this is gonna apply to that world when I'm sure a lot of companies probably intend to use AI to help them develop games. We already have, you know, games made by Rockstar with sexual depiction, tons of violence. We have games like Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, you can turn the options off, but the amount of things that you can see in that game or be exposed to and whatnot. So for them to really do this at all for that world, or if there's got to be some way that if you're just worried about your AI Like, let's say a game developer makes something and then they credit your AI for it, and you're worried about the consequences of that. There has to be some other way to work out those sort of things than to just completely sensitize your system.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of two minds. As someone who's a fairly radical free speech person and an artist, I don't like most censorship in most any form. Especially when there's government legislation attached to it, because government is the least qualified organization to do censorship. And world history tells us that never goes in a good direction. And that even goes back to what we've done already in our nation's history with the Hays Code for film, the comic book code for comic books, this sort of thing. We look back on those sort of things as anachronistic, reactionary reactions to the past, and yet here we are once again.
Mm-hmm.
With many of the same arguments being made.
I think that, like, so in terms of, if I just separate like a couple two different things here, with game developers, let's just say if AI is becoming a new creation tool, we had been discussing a little while ago that the lower level position jobs, lower level tech position jobs, once game developers figure out how to program code AI to do that stuff, those positions will go. And I mean, I don't know, let's just take the most popular shooter, for example, Call of Duty. They asset swap the shit out of that game. Everything is like asset swapped. They don't care. And now they're going to have an AI tool that can crank them out like every 3 to 6 months. Like, are you kidding me? They're absolutely going to boot every single developer, engineer, anybody that's not high corporate out.
Yes, that's already, kind of on the way, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think AI is a really great, a very helpful tool, but I mean, taking the things that made video games great were human beings, and it requires a human touch, in my humble opinion. But
no, certainly.
I mean, unless you're the Bungie North, fuck you. In terms of privacy, though, I don't, people are saying this is a huge invasion of privacy, especially with censorship coming to adult websites and everything else. Even in, say, you wanted to buy a game on Xbox Live or PSN or something, and you got to upload your ID to prove that you're 18 years old or 17 years old per EZARB. I don't think that's like such a big deal, because I mean, we literally sign our lives away to these fucking smartphones. Like, this thing listens to me. Yeah. I'll be sometimes, I swear I'm not, I wish I was even making this up. Sometimes I'll just be thinking something and it'll show up on my phone. It's fucking weird. But if we talked about, I don't know, we'll talk about Ghost energy drinks today, I'll get suggestions on my phone. Like, they already listen to us. They've already heard me say my account numbers out loud. They've our phones and devices listen to us. I don't, oh, now you got to upload your ID. I mean,
yeah. 100%
oh no,
they do.
Oh no.
I had a funny instance of that the other day when you mentioned a line from a particular Quentin Tarantino movie that I absolutely cannot repeat on the podcast. But like 2 days after you said that, brother, I'm scrolling through YouTube Shorts. I never see anything about his films, even though I really like them. And then, that scene from Pulp Fiction came up.
Yeah. It's look up the cheeseburger scene, the one tasty burger scene, and then the scene after that. It's like Quentin Tarantino's house for coffee. That's all we're gonna say.
If you really want to know what we're talking about, just go watch the movie.
I didn't. I look at this really as an invasion of privacy and anonymity and all this sort of thing, which is, supposed to be protected by the Constitution. But I also have a security concern. We already have data breaches all the time. I'm currently in I have settlements out for probably 4 different ones waiting to get paid out from law firms for things. My other question is, who's actually retaining all this data and how secure is that?
I
And
doubt it.
because the tech industry's record is horrible. I mean, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
No, there's gonna be issues for sure.
Oh, there's going to be big issues. I mean, what that a few years ago. I mean, I say a few years ago. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago when Lizard Squad took over all of PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's class action lawsuits that I get emails about for data breaches on like everything. It's like, oh, this app you used was part of a data breach.
I
Really
was in
good
the
security.
Experian data breach 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was working at a place in Seattle, and that came across the wire. And of our staff of 11, 5 of us were in the data breach, and it
Okay.
was quite a lot. Fortunately, nothing untoward's happened. I always say I'm the type of person that go ahead, steal my identity. You can't do any worse financially than I've done to myself. So, I kind of don't care. Like you can't make it any worse. You'll probably be disappointed by how not great it is. But for people that do actually have their lives together and everything, it ends up costing tens of thousands, or some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, and can take years to undo. And that was true 20 years ago when you'd see these stories on the news when the internet was relatively new. It had already been around a decade, but a lot of people were just still getting online in the early 2000s, and it was already a problem back then. That was 25 years ago. And I think having all this just kind of floating around is going to, there's going to be a lot of that. And there probably also will be very similar to Stripe or Link, or these sort of payment processors that save your info. I imagine there'll be some service like that. Somebody is going to have the $1 billion idea of being like, oh yeah, let's be this default security protocol for all of these websites and everything. And then you upload your ID once to, IDNet, whatever they'll call it. And, and then you just, do your sign in, probably something biometric, face, fingerprint, whatever have you, and off to the Camptown races. That ultimately represents a data gold mine for hackers. And the legal liability and the insurance costs will be tremendous.
Put cash under your mattress. That's what my grandma always said.
Yeah, buy gold.
Yeah,
Good.
invest in gold.
Yes, buy gold. Yes, good. All right. I think we've covered that. Our next fun topic, we are going to dive into the new Alien TV series on Hulu, and we have the trailer.
I figured if you wanted to mute it, and then I would talk over it because this is going to be kind of long.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this. Oh, there it is. So this new Alien TV series, Alien Earth. I just want to say, this trailer is really sick. I'm looking forward to it. I'll get into my thoughts here. I've love all the Alien movies. I've seen all of them. I would also just like to acknowledge there's 2 separate timelines that the fans tend to acknowledge. One is the Prometheus Covenant route, where the invention of the xenomorphs was done by synths, human beings that are transferred into synthetic androids, human being minds. That's what this is about, Alien Earth. So the alien, I forget his name, Walter, the synth, escapes with the alien, heads back to Earth, and this is kind of that. But they are not going to be following the canon. They're not following the new canon. They're following the old canon, the real canon, the quadrilogy canon. So this is 2 years before the first Alien movie, 17 years post-Alien Covenant. Aside from timeline shenanigans, they may or may not continue the story of Prometheus and Covenant, but excluding the invention of the thing, of the xenomorphs. I say follow-up because the director for Alien Earth says the current director says he disagrees with the events of Prometheus, and the origins of the scary, slimy H.R. Giger abomination, leaky penis monsters. So, in a brief Cliff Notes version of Prometheus and Covenant, successful as their plan worked to create these xenomorphs, they've basically doomed an entire solar system or galaxy and possibly the close reaches of other local galaxies. That's a measurement. I'm not an astronaut. It's going to be... it'll be the melodrama, pomp, and circumstances straight out of their textbook, out of Ridley Scott's Sex Dungeon. I mean, Art Gallery. Being that... the story is, right from the book of Alien, right from the book of Ridley Scott. Big mega corporations running the world, trying to buy bioweapons, and they want to capture this thing, harness it, and train it to fucking kill people. One very, very cool thing I'm excited about, that they're going to be focusing on turning... This Alien Earth is going to be focusing on taking the first human mind and putting it in the synth, so we get the origins of like human souls imbued into machines, which goes into the quadrilogy. They're also adding four new monsters, which is unheard of, unprecedented. And one's a big scary eyeball monster. The T. Ocellus. It appears to be some sort of eyeball hentai tentacle monster, and it liquefies itself, and I'm not sure, but it looks spooky though. It looks like it's vomit-inducing. Looks like it's gonna be good. I like it. That's it.
The trailer looks fantastic. I mean, sort of thing. So, I wouldn't say I'm a super fan of the Alien franchise, but I do enjoy it. I'm probably the only person who liked Prometheus. So, yeah, you and me, well, we're holding it down for Prometheus. We're the only two people.
Yeah, these guys were not happy.
like
These
it.
guys were not particularly happy when I was like...
You didn't like Prometheus?
I do not like that movie.
Yes, we exiled him from the house for 48 hours as punishment. We made him stay out in the coop with the quail, and so he could redeem himself. Yes, that. But I think it does look really great. Having just watched it right now, it does look really cool. So I think it will be quite successful, and I know you're excited for it because it's been on the docket for a couple weeks. So I wanted to make sure we got to it this week. So that's...
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that with you guys.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. So
there's some stuff that caught my eye, and it feels like there's a lot of mysteriousness that's gonna go on in the series, and I love that kind of shit.
Hopefully it wasn't the T. Ocellus that caught your eye.
It was. The knowing laugh, the silent grin. It was. I also want to find out what they're gonna do with that little sheep. So that'll be fun. So that's yes. So that's there's a lot
sheep.
of.
Hell yeah.
Yes, a three-horn. Yes, a three-horn. Yes, let's find out much more about that. So yeah, but that's Alien Earth. And the official trailer is on YouTube. It's going to be on FX and Hulu. And it will start airing in late August. I think the 22nd is when it starts airing. And knowing modern television, this will be a limited series with 8 episodes because it's 2025 and all this sort of thing. But it does look really exciting. So everyone who's excited about Alien and all that sort of thing should get excited for sure. So yeah, one of the few new things to come out that has had any... TV's been in a bit of a dearth lately. I haven't really been excited about anything new. I'm I just put on The Golden Girls again, or I'm like, oh, it's almost time to do a complete rewatch of Dynasty. That'll keep me busy for 6 months. And stuff, so I just need to commune with Linda Evans for a while. So it's nice to have something exciting happening. That's a lot of fun. So Good. Let's keep things moving along quickly. We have so all right. So let me set this up before we get into this. As everyone knows, in the wake of the Snow White disaster, debacle, meltdown, Disney as a company is in a lot of a crisis. The View may single-handedly sink the entirety of ABC News. And Disney is struggling at the box office. Even the Marvel movies aren't popping the way they used to. Star Wars is too feminized, according to some, which is kind of weird, but people say that, and the box office numbers seem to reflect weakness in the franchise for a company that owns so much iconic media. And, as my friend Jen and I have complained, the Muppets are underutilized. I don't know why we're not getting live-action Muppet versions of Disney movies. But here we are. Disney's in a bit of a crisis. And I think the key for for Bob Iger to dig Disney out of this mess. One, I don't think Bob Iger is the right person to get it out because he was the one that got them into it. However, the person they hired after him was so bad the board brought Bob back because the guy who created the mess was less bad than the guy who couldn't find the instructions on how to pour water out of the boot with the instructions on the heel. So it's like, how do you save Disney? Obviously, the solution is something, new original content to get people excited. The last big new franchise they launched was Frozen, and that was 10 plus years ago. So, in our many conversations around the house, we have come up with lots of ideas on what Disney could do to turn the ship around. And today we decided to have the conversation and put forth some of our ideas of how Disney could turn some things around. Now, I'm going to tell a funny anecdote on Connor. We were doing our pre-production last night, and he was like, I don't really have a Disney movie to talk about. That's kind of your Will thing. And I'm kind of like, well, what's your favorite Disney movie? And we'll just talk about that. And he just blithely says, oh, The Fox and the Hound. And I'm like,
yeah, it was.
I know, but that's a very sad movie.
Yeah.
Like that's Don Bluth levels of trauma.
When you're really, really young, you just kind of see the happy side of shit. But then, yes, as you grow older, you see what it's really about and this and that. But even when I was very, very young, I just loved the characters, and even named one of my dogs after the fox instead of the dog.
Yeah. So that was a fun moment as you were discussing this. But I wanted to start off. Will's gonna have a lot to say, so I'm gonna get mine in first and say that I think the Disney turnaround needs to do a couple things. One, let Star Wars be hyper male and masculine. Hire 10 nerds and give them creative control and a budget for the gods. That's the first thing. But when it comes to new creative IP, they own Fox, which means they own the original 1998 Anastasia movie, which I had on VHS, and I watched it so many times, I wore the tape out. I was a very gay child. And that was sort of thing. And so I think a new Anastasia movie where Anastasia is an old woman looking back on the past and all the changes in Russia and all this type of thing, perhaps as a look back to the end of communism or something, would be very interesting. I think that would be fascinating and you could do a whole new adventure, a whole new princess. You could have lots of back and forth. There's juice there. Could do something with that. The other one, and I came up with this last night while I was playing Wheel of Fortune on my Switch, is an Ursula Origins movie like Maleficent. And I have it the perfect title, Poor Unfortunate Souls, the Ursula Origins story. And I'm like, do to Ursula what you did for Maleficent, print money. Print money. I'm like, this is that would just print money. And you can have multiple ones. You can hire a great, actress, especially someone kind of a middle-aged, sort of older, which would make the DEI crowd very happy. I'm like, oh, get Bob Iger on the phone. We can save Disney. So I wanted to put those in, a new Anastasia movie and Ursula origin story. What do you guys got?
You mind if I go, Will? Because I know yours is probably going to be the most interesting.
I don't know about that, but yeah, go ahead.
I do like your Ursula idea. You mentioned that while we were downstairs the other night, I think. I thought that was great. I am not very creative when it comes to video games. Great. Film, you would think they tie together? No. But after looking through some old Disney movies and such that I grew up on, what I'd really love to see, especially with how far CGI has come, I don't care if it's live action or CGI. I think they could do it either way, or they could combine the two and make an incredible film, is do a remake of Treasure Planet.
That, you know what? A lot of people have mentioned Justice for Treasure Planet. They felt like it never got the play that it deserved. It could get a lot more attention. It never really sold that well. Yeah, no, that's actually an excellent suggestion. And there's been a lot of other people who've mentioned Justice for Treasure Planet too. So, yeah, I think that would be... yeah.
But just a joke on some of your comments about Bob Iger is I don't want to, I wouldn't want to let Bob Iger do this, because then it's just going to be a movie about a boy that goes on a dole adventure and never grows up and gets shit on the whole time.
Well, it's actually kind of funny. The latest Pixar film kind of was that, which, yeah, was quite sad. So, yeah, I think Iger's got to go. You've got to get something. You've got to get somebody new. You've got to get a new face. And maybe someone creative. That's half the problem with Hollywood. It's been accountants and MBAs running the industry for way too long. Marina Sirtis, actually, from TNG, was talking about this a little while ago, and how Amazon / Paramount / CBS was trying to low-key screw her out of getting paid for Picard seasons 1, 2, and 3, because they were not viewing her as the iconic face of a franchise. She was a line item expense. Napkins, tablecloths, electricity, Marina Sirtis, like Jonathan Frakes, sort of thing. And she also complained about the fact that, star power matters. They don't treat bigger stars that way, like Patrick Stewart, who was paid very handsomely without a lot of blah, blah, blah. But because she's, on the B squad sort of thing, even though you do not have a core TNG cast without her, like, at all, sort of thing. The problem really is that Hollywood's ran by MBAs and accountants. And I think Disney has suffered from that as well, sort of thing. So, yeah, Iger's got to go. Get someone creative in there. Will?
I would love to see a remake of Treasure Planet. I did like the cut that we got, but if anybody's ever interested in watching a little bit of behind the scenes about that film and its development, go check out Bread Swords video. Bread, like the thing you eat, and the sword, like the thing you stab people with. And on YouTube. Treasure Planet, Disney's biggest mistake, or something like that. Disney, kind of intentionally fucked that film release date-wise to basically shut the project down because they didn't like it, or they didn't want the directors to succeed or some shit. I don't know. But, that and Black Cauldron, two big crimes against film. I did not know this, but in my research, looking up some Disney films, I did not realize that in 2007, Guillermo del Toro and Neil Gaiman pitched a Doctor Strange movie to Marvel. But it would have featured Doctor Strange as a disbarred alcoholics physician in the late 1920s, early 30s, residing in Greenwich without aging for 90 years. And I'm like, that sounds like it could have been sick. Like, not this ching chong nonsense we got in 2019 or whatever. He's got a little Asian servant, little bald Asian servant man that follows him around, and it's like, what are you doing?
Doctor Strange and Mr. Washy Washy, good lord.
Mr. Washy Washy. You stole my shirt. I don't have your shirt, Doctor Strange.
Yes, you do have my shirt.
He just opens a portal.
No, I did not know that about the Guillermo del Toro Neil Gaiman thing until I saw that in your notes. I did not know that. It was really fascinating. That would have been interesting. Very, very similar to Fantastic Beasts. What they did with Fantastic Beasts. They took the Harry Potter universe back to the 1930s.
I will say my favorite Disney movie growing up, as much as I loved all the classics, the one that I still watch over and over again today, much to Cameron's chagrin, is The Emperor's New Groove. It is a surrealist masterpiece of a comedy movie, animated comedy movie. It's wonderful. I love everything about that. But fucking Bob Iger, you keep your filthy hands off of it. It's perfect the way it is. We don't need a fucking live action remake.
Don't touch it.
If that
Part of my problem with The Emperor's New Groove is it never had much appeal to me. I also had aged out of Disney movies when it came out. So, but I share the same opinion about what they did to Beauty and the Beast. I was horrified. Like, no one wanted that. Like, children, just put the original 1995 one is the most perfect 2D animated movie ever made. They animated Forks doing the can, and it's gorgeous. Bring me 10 7-year-olds, and I have a sneaky suspicion if I put on the old-fashioned 90s version, they will love it. And they made all the characters look so weird. The clothes were wrong. Just like that one sound on TikTok. Like that was my impression of the live action Beauty and the Beast. Sort of things like. And these were so many beloved films and stories. I mean, growing up, my aunt thought the Disney store was like a prime shopping destination. So we had all the movies on VHS. Like, I mean, name it, we had it on VHS. And that was, I mean, these were wonderful, amazing, things. And again, it's the old idea of you spent hundreds of millions of dollars on that. Maybe try something new, Sure, it's like you own a third of American media. There's no one with an original idea in the entire company. I mean, we might as well hire the janitor. Find out what his kids like. Make that. Yeah. Like, at this point, the man who cleans the toilets would be a better creative than anyone hired in about the last decade. I would rather be like, sir, what movie do you want to see? Great. We're going to make that. Everyone get to work. Call the lighting people. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Like, that would be, whatever he would come up with would be better than what they've been putting out.
There's a Star Wars IP I didn't know about. I found this out. Star Wars Tales. Anybody ever heard of this?
No.
No, I have not.
Alright.
I was aware of Solo and the Clone Wars, but I didn't know about a Tales. Oh.
So this came out apparently, I think, in the 90s, early 2000s, and they had Lucasfilms. It was these basically like made-for-TV series of movies that were out, and there were like 3 or 4 of them. This one is called Star Wars Tales Underworld, and it was mainly centered around bounty hunters like Boba Fett and stuff like that. And I'm like,
I smell a remake.
Why don't you do that? Yeah, it was
print.
Also,
yes, I smell a remake.
As we're on for Star Wars, I mean, where's the sequel to Rogue One? To be honest, I will be honest, I've never seen Rogue One, but from everybody I've talked to who's a big Star Wars fan, much bigger than myself, sorry guys, the fandom, but they're like, everybody says Rogue One is the best one out of the new ones that they've seen, so I don't know why they aren't.
I did a complete rewatch. So on the Cameron Journal podcast, I did a Star Trek versus Star Wars episode, and I rewatched all the Star Wars movie, not in their order in chronological of release, rewatched them all in preparation to do that. This took several months to put together. And I agree. Rogue One was quite amazing. Um, it is quite good. But that 90, I didn't maybe miss that in the 90s. That sounds really good though. I Smell a
Right.
remake. Yeah, that would be amazing.
I would like, if they were gonna do a live action remake, I have a few that I wrote down.
Yeah.
That would be cool as live action only. A new live action remake of Atlantis.
Ooh. Yeah, I get into that.
If they wanted to do a half and half of Treasure Planet, I think that would be cool, for sure. Or they could do full live action. I don't know. I would love to see a live action Pocahontas, a remake of that. That could tell a really good story.
Yeah.
Pocahontas was actually one of my favorites as a kid.
I was just listening to Leah Salonga performing Colors of the Wind with the Boston Philharmonic
that's a good one.
earlier this morning. That was actually a song when I did competitive flute competitions in high school. That was one of my songs that I did. And what?
I don't. I just, you know me and my 10-year-old mind.
Yeah.
That just sounded really competitive flute blowing competition.
Will is trying to act like I was sucking dudes off behind. It was honestly, it was a lot less fun. It was competitive music, which is extremely cutthroat. I probably would have rather have been doing what Will thought I was doing. So I've always had a particular...
I know what you were doing, but the way that just sounded in my head.
When I first got on...
Good.
Quick detour. When I first got on the internet in high school, I heard that joke every 24 to 48 hours from 2004 probably until about 2009 or so. So I'm very desensitized to it. I was, do not speak to me of the old magic. I was there when it was written.
I didn't realize it was like this. It was this cutthroat in the music world.
Well, yeah, because here's the reality. There's a lot of people who show up to these competitions, and you have to build up points over many years in order to win a trophy or an award. And the reality is that you have to place fairly high to get enough points before high school ends to get a trophy. For me personally, I actually started a year late. So I had to win first place every year, 3 years in a row, to get 5 points every time, to get my 15 points to get a trophy. So I worked really hard and to get that done, and I did. I got my trophy when I was 18 and was graduating. But that was one of my favorite songs to play. It's one of my favorite songs to sing. And I was thinking this morning, getting back onto the Disney. We're back on the highway now, getting back on the on-ramp. Getting back to the Disney conversation, I was also kind of thinking this morning, in thinking about we were going to talk about this, I was also thinking a live-action Pocahontas handled correctly could be quite good. I think very similar to the way they did the live-action Mulan would be really cool with, the really realistic architecture, make it a little less cartoony sort of thing. I think that also would be, really, really cool and interesting. So I think there's possibilities there, especially if you work with members of the Powhatan tribe to reflect their culture better. I think that you could really do something with that.
Oh. But anyway, would be fun for a CG remake, The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, yes. Speaking of that, The Rescuers is just sitting there waiting for someone to do something. We need Bernard and Bianca back immediately. I know Zsa Zsa Gabor is dead. We need to find someone young and sounding. You know what we could do? We'll hire Melania Trump. She can do a great Bianca. Yes, that's what we'll do. That will get Disney back in with the Trump administration.
Oh, no.
We can save this company.
Sorry.
We will hire Melania Trump to be the voice of Bianca in the new Rescuers film. This will be so good.
I'm sorry, I'm pursuing my dreams as a voice actor. I cannot be First Lady anymore.
Okay, last couple things. A new live-action Aladdin would be cool. A CG Aristocrats would be cool.
Mm.
And
That might come to be. I was just looking at that. Well, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that's cool. I'm glad. That's good. Good news.
Yeah.
And the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Well, that's a segment of Fantasia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Why don't we redo Fantasia?
Yeah, well, they kind of did. So they did Fantasia 2000
Right.
for the year 2000 sort of thing. And it was really cool. They had Helen Mirren host it, and it was all, it was a big thing at the time. I think a new version of Fantasia with, really crazy graphics, like really the limit of what tech can do, would be really cool. It would be very expensive, of course, but it would be really cool.
Could you imagine it at that? Could you imagine at that circular CG dome theater in Vegas or whatever?
I would go to Vegas to see that, like to watch like Fantasia 2020 in the Sphere at Vegas. That's a destination,
that would
thing.
Be cool.
That would be very cool. Yes, and you could definitely do some old favorites, and you can also not just include classical music. You can include, some more modern stuff. You could bring in a little bit of disco, a little bit of dance. Yeah, you could definitely do something with that as well. And that
Jose, we're receiving the transmissions currently.
That is not a viewer. You know who that is? That is Adonis, who works for us at Suit Media. He's watching the show right now. Yes, and so actually it's funny about the alien ship coming towards Earth. So last night he called me, and he's kind of like, there's one story you didn't cover on the news hour on Monday. And I'm like, what? And he's kind of like, there's an alien ship coming towards Earth, and it'll be here in September. And I went through a whole thing about why that probably is not a real thing, and why you shouldn't believe everything you read on the internet, and this sort of thing, and so
I believe you, Adonis. I believed you.
I'm like, well, I told him, I said, if it's real, which I don't think it is, but if it's real, the minute it gets past Jupiter, it's supposedly the size of Manhattan, we'll be able to see it in the night sky. So if it's real, we'll all be witness to it. We'll be seeing it coming at us for about 2 months before it gets here.
Oh, look at that.
I would not like to see a cosmic horror version of Manhattan coming at me. We already have those enough here. We don't need more.
You mean you don't want to be attacked by Trader Joe's shoppers and Erewhon smoothies?
I don't want them to put up a Whole Foods next to my house.
Yes, no, it's but no, I mean, as far as to close out the Disney topic, the point is Disney owns so much stuff and so much IP and has so many great ideas running around. There's no excuse for the schlock they've been schlocking.
And my original quick idea, this is the only thing I had left, was, why don't Bob Iger, listen up, a small marsupial begins a perilous journey to save his village during an unexpected drought. It's the main character's objective to find the source of the drought, solve the mystery, and survive. Along the way, he will meet a lovely cast of characters, and some will become his closest allies, some may have ulterior motives, but one thing is for sure, many will die if our hero does not persevere.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially if it's like kind of like A Bug's Life, where it's like a farmer who's plugged up the ditch because his water allotment is gone, but for his little friends, it's a death sentence sort of thing.
It's those guys who do the YouTube primitive building that cut off the water supply.
Yes. No. Yeah, that would be a lot. I think the cute, fun things like that would be a lot of fun. You could have a little love interest, a little lady marsupial, who's like, I believe in you, sort of thing. Like, yeah. But again, all of these ideas are wonderful and fantastic, and is so much better than anything going out right now. It's honestly no excuse, and we can only blame incompetent management at this point. Like, there's just stupidity afoot, and it's a terrible It's a terrible thing. Anyway.
Ganbate Marsupio-san.
So for our last segment before we get you out of here, we have the latest anime. Today's theme is movies and film, obviously. We're getting into anime that we have been watching, and I'll set this up by saying, so as we've had this conversation many times as we've watched stuff, I was never on the anime train. I think I was a little older than the target demo at the time, and when it was coming along, I never got that sucked into it. I didn't start watching anime until college, and it's always a special thing when these two are going through all the ones they've seen, and I can occasionally be like, oh, I've actually watched that one, because it's so very rare. It's a moment to remember. But being here with these two, I have watched more anime in the last 8 months than I probably have in the last 8 years. And it has been a whole journey, and we've been on so many different journeys, sort of things. So I thought, Will, you'd lead us down the anime trail, and I do have your video queued up. Just let me know when you want to watch it.
Oh, okay. So we've been watching a bunch. I will say, we just introduced Cam here to Mob Psycho 100. If you haven't seen it, really funny show. It's by the same studio that does One Punch, that does Mashal. We also showed Cam Mashal. Both very funny, very lighthearted animes. Mob Psycho is about a fake psychic who accidentally stumbles across a kid with real psychic powers, and he pretends to be his psychic master, but he's really just kind of a shyster. And
shout out Reagan-sama.
Arigato, Reagan-san. Yeah, and then Mashal is about a very simple child, we'll say, who is born in a normal human, born essentially a muggle. It's a mock of Harry Potter and like any fighting anime. I don't know.
Yeah, any fighting.
Yeah, I mean, when you are born into a society that uses magic for everything, and you have no magical ability whatsoever, but you're really good at working out, let the drama ensue.
So the story is just about how he has to fake pretending having magic to attend anime Hogwarts, and there's a whole thing. There's a whole story.
Because
I don't want to
every
spoil
anime
it.
has to take place in a high school.
That's right. High school is the #1 setting, I think, for anime.
Always. I used to watch one where this young man and his whole family were charged with fighting off these forest demons that conveniently all surrounded this high school, and he literally had to go to school by day and fight these demons by night with his sister sometimes, and his dad sometimes, and his grandfather sometimes, and I was chortling about always around a high school. Always around a high school.
Why
Man,
his
if only I was
grandpa
an
around the
anime.
high school?
That's a
I was
great
an anime
question.
character and I didn't
And they
use
never address it. It's their family's job to guard this land and this school. And the grandfather passes the tradition. The son was no good, but the grandson is better, sort of thing. Let the drama ensue, because it's anime. You know, our protagonist has to be 17 and is trying to balance killing demons and, you know, school by day sort of things. But, yes.
Killing demons and not forming meaningful relationships with women.
Yes, that's very important. No women. You cannot be having girlfriends or productive, emotionally mature relationships. No.
Nope. You cannot have. Just, you know what? Just don't even put a woman in your manga.
No, there's no point. There's no point. She will be starved for attention.
Ninja Scrolls taught us anything.
I mean, she'll just be a plot device. Look at fucking Baki's girlfriend.
She's like, oh, I'm feeling insecure, so I'm gonna cheat on you with a black guy.
Except I don't. And then he gets his ass beat and he starts crying.
Yeah, she just... Ollie Jr.'s whole story in that
Yeah.
manga is just tragic, man. She just
Poor Ollie.
leads him on the whole time, and then, spoiler alert, Baki whoops his ass.
in like 1 second. Like literally
Yeah.
1 second.
maybe two panels.
The whole thing's over. So Marshall's good. We've also been watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it is bizarre.
Which I love. That I had never seen before, and Will has introduced me to that. And now I've taken a custom to running around and yelling, "Oh my god!"
He really
Yada,
does
yada.
that too.
He does.
Yes, no, I definitely identify with a young man who dresses like a 1950s greaser. Sure.
He's only a little boy.
I
At
wanna-
6'4".
I don't want to spoil any of the show.
6'4",
I would
220.
I'd comment on what a certain character might have had to do to pull Maref on a staircase, but I feel like I can't explain that without immense spoilers for the series, so I won't share that here.
Go watch it, and then come
Yeah.
back. The next time we talk about anime, there'll be no spoiler warnings.
Right. Yes. Yes. So yes, we've been watching so much. Any standouts? Besides JoJo that we've been watching lately that you guys are re-loving for the second time, loved for the first time?
Well, Mashl's great.
It is.
I think. Did you start One Punch Man on your own, Bo, or did I introduce you to that with Mob?
No, I watched One Punch Man, and then you showed me Mob later. But
Shit.
I haven't seen. There's a second season of One Punch Man, isn't there?
I think now. I'm not even
Now.
sure now. There might even be 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen. I only ever saw the first season. I was like, I know there was talk of a sequel coming out, but I didn't know if it ever actually happened.
Yeah. Alright, so we both watched One Punch Man on our own. I introduced him to Mob, and then he introduced me to Mashal. Mashal just cracks me up.
Oh, we also watched that Ragnarok show. That was good.
Oh yeah, Record of Ragnarok.
Yep, that was a good one too.
We do love some Record of Ragnarok, except for the little whiny girl that is the plot explainer.
Yes.
When we already have like 3 other dudes, like Adonis is not you, Adonis, not Adonis in the chat, Adonis in the show. It's also like a plot narrator, like, oh my god, what does that mean? Type of thing. It's like we don't need
Yes.
more than one, bro. But that's really my only criticism about that show. Otherwise, love it.
Although, to be fair, Adonis in the chat does sometimes do that about Suit Matters. We love him, but he's only been with us a couple months, so there are sometimes that he's kind of like, I know all this stuff is happening, but what does that mean? We do sometimes have those anime moments in actual business conversation, which is hilarious. But we love Adonis, we love him at Soup, and he's going to be great. He's going to be great for us.
I'm really hoping in Ragnarok that they'll do a battle with Odin. I don't care who he fights, but
I'm pretty
that
sure
would be
Odin's the
fucking
next
awesome.
one. Or no, Odin's not the next one. Hades is supposedly the next one.
That'll
Yeah.
be cool too.
It's nice because I've watched a lot of anime because I've unfortunately and fortunately in some ways had a lot of time to myself. So I've seen a lot of these things, and it's always fun having a reason to rewatch them and show people who's never seen these things, these great stories. I showed these guys Evangelion, JoJo.
That was
Mob.
fantastic.
Connor knew about Fire Force. Connor, how are you liking? You're watching the second season of Fire Force now, right?
I'm gonna watch where I left off. I think I was probably on episode 3 of season 2. And then I'll finish that off. That way we can all watch season 3 together if we'd like.
Cool.
I have been
Yeah.
very excited to show them things that are not anime. That's a topic for another day. But I'm Connor's excited to watch Beast of a Billion Backs from Futurama, so we're gonna try to get into that here soon.
Absolutely.
Because it's a Futurama movie and half of it is set in a D&D universe, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so,
it's everything I want in one, wrapped in one present.
It
right
is
there.
it is hardcore nerd fan service. They know who watches that show.
The last thing is I actually have a video for, in Cam, you can go ahead and cue that up.
Mhm.
You can leave it on low volume. The music is still fine because it's not copywritten. They're not going to yell about it at this point. This is a movie of an anime movie, Fist of the North Star.
This show is so crazy. Oh my god.
This is the movie adaptation, which covers the first arc in the story. This video is the manliest scene in history. Basically, he gets like a psychic link, and he's really, our hero here has been like meditating on like a spiritual journey on his way to his big fight, and he receives like a psychic help message, and now they've done something. They've made a very bad mistake, these bad guys. They have run into a wild Kenshiro.
Pissed off the wrong man.
You said to 47 seconds, and we're like at a minute 10.
Yeah,
you want to stop
you can
here?
shut it off now. Yeah.
Okay.
The rest, I was gonna say, we have to cut it off here because then it'll get demonetized. There's about to be some explosions of bodily fluids.
Which, as we've
Very
discussed,
violent.
all banned now. All ban every. It's like if you want to be watching stuff with us, we're gonna have to start taking IDs at the door like a nightclub. Yeah,
We're putting in some terms and conditions.
right. Fist of the North Star. It's a quite crazy show, and the art style obviously is so dated. I think it was from the 70s or early 80s, isn't it?
Late 80s, yeah.
Yeah, so the art style is very dated, but the show is just so crazy, but fun. Honestly, some parts of it remind me of Nausicaa, Hayao Miyazaki, Nausicaa. It reminds me a little bit of Nausicaa at times. The art style and some of the way like the characters are positioned, it reminds me of Nausicaa. Because I love everything Hayao Miyazaki puts out. I love if he gave me 2 hours of him just like sitting in a bathroom and telling me about the history of Japan, I would sit there and watch it, because it would be gorgeously animated and pretty, and I would just sit there and watch it, sort of thing.
All the numbers on the bathroom wall start floating, and ooh, it's all whimsical.
Yes, exactly.
Call
There's
me for a good
some
time.
water demon will leap from the pipes, and
The toilet.
yes, like it would be insane, but yeah, the Fist of the North Star has been a lot of fun. I've definitely enjoyed Johto. Mashless really good. So yeah, it's been definitely an interesting journey down the anime highway that I probably honestly would have never taken on my own. So that's really cool. So of course, I was surprised. Actually, I was surprised at how Connor responded to Manhattan. We watched Manhattan by Woody Allen a couple weeks ago, and Connor really responded to it. Yeah, which was really a lot of fun. So we've been having a little bit of
plenty of good films.
Yes, we've had a little bit of cultural exchange. I've been learning anime, and I try to impress them a little bit sometimes with really high art and wonderful things. So, yeah, it's been a fun experience.
Check out High Noon. That was a great recommendation from Cam.
High Noon's a very old Western film from 1953. It has Grace Kelly in it, Princess Grace of Monaco. Yes, and it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's kind of what we got for this week. And we're at the hour. So, final thoughts and things on the week.
It's always good to be here.
Yep. We're up to 5 episodes now, which is really awesome. Which is really, really, really spectacular. So, yeah, I do want to let everyone know, as a matter of housekeeping, we are doing lots of more gaming content on Rumble. So if you want to see these two primarily do crazy great stuff in gaming, definitely check us out on Rumble, The Living Joke. We're also posting everything to Substack now, so thelivingjoke.substack.com, and you can find us on Instagram at @TLJ_joke. In fact, for the first time, the clips from this show are going to go on that Instagram and not mine. I got all that connected today, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And just make sure to follow us on Substack. We are planning to do a watch along here soon. We're just kind of getting our act together about it, but we are going to do a watch along here soon. So make sure to watch out for that. I am planning on finishing my article about why Star Trek Online does the Star Trek universe perfectly and should be the definitive canon book of how it's done, because they synthesize everything together so well. And I've been working on that for a while, and I'm actually going to finish it and put it out there. I'm also planning on doing a Star Trek Online stream here soon, where I will play all the space TFOs one by one all the way through, which should be a lot of fun. It will be a nice couple hour stream as we go through all of that. So, that's what's happening this week. The guys are streaming a lot these days, so make sure to find Connor over at A Grey Crow 01 on Twitch, or The Living Joke on Rumble. We'll be there as well. And then we'll be Ninja Q69 on Twitch, or The Living Joke on Rumble. Both of those locations, so make sure to watch out for all of their streams. And of course, I will be doing the news every Monday at 7 p.m. on the Cameron Joel News Hour, and you can find all the Cameron Joel stuff at CameronJoel.com. And also, the Cameron Joel is now on Substack, so if you love us on Substack for The Living Joke, you can follow the Cameron Joel there and get that content without having to sign up for 2 things at once. So, that's The Living Joke episode 5, everybody. So, thank you so much for watching. We love you for being here, and we will see you next week, or whenever you're watching this. We'll see you on the next one. Talk soon now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.